Welcome back, college football fans, Hawkeye fans, and Badger fans alike to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. This is my reaction and recap to what took place last night up at Camp Randall Stadium between Iowa and Wisconsin. Iowa went on to win total score of 37-0. That's right, that is not a typo or a misspeak. 37-0 was the final score. With the victory, Iowa improves to 4-2 overall, 2-1 in Big Ten conference play, while with the loss, Wisconsin drops to 2-4 overall, 0-3 in Big Ten conference play. My initial comments to this game. With the victory, it's now 4 wins in a row for Iowa over their arch rival to the north, Wisconsin. So the coveted Heartland Trophy will stay one more season in Iowa's trophy case. And to me, this really kind of signals the changing of the tide, the tables being turned, however you want to word it, to where Iowa absolutely now is the better program than Wisconsin is. With this victory, also, Luke Fickell will not survive. I mean, either he can't and he won't with this loss on homecoming, a game that they put everything into, and I'll talk about that here a little bit later in the episode. Now he is below 500. I mean, he will not make it. Either he will be fired during the season, he may be fired later today, tomorrow, or 7 weeks from now. He will not survive this loss. So Wisconsin will be moving on from Coach Luke Fickell here sooner than later. And wow, I mean, and this is the 99th meeting between these two arch rivals. And Iowa has not shut out Wisconsin in Madison since 1929. This is also the first time that Wisconsin has been shut out since 1980. And also, this is the most points that Iowa has ever scored in this rivalry game inside Camp Randall. Welcome back to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks, and I have invited all of you college football fans, Hawkeye fans, and also Badger fans. I want to invite you all in because this is a gathering spot, a safe zone for college football discussion. So if this is your first time joining me here on the channel, please, I always welcome and ask for your participation. I want to hear from you, my fellow college football brothers and sisters. Go ahead and light up that comment section below, and I promise I will get back to each and every one of you much sooner than later. And thank you for all that you have done or will do for the channel. So please help me grow. If you find it in your heart to give me a like, a share, a rating, or go ahead and subscribe, it would be much appreciated. All right, so let's get back to this. I've got about 15 minutes here to share with you. I'm going to be doing a little bit of golf here this morning. It is a beautiful day here in the Show Me State of Missouri. But quite frankly, it's a beautiful day regardless of where you are, if you are a Hawkeye fan, and happy Sunday to you and yours. So, wow, this game really was over by the end of the first quarter. Iowa jumped all over Wisconsin to the tune of 17-0 at the end of the first 15 minutes. And at that point, with Wisconsin's struggles this season, especially offensively, it was done. Did they actually quit? Well, I think some of the Badger players there on homecoming night did kind of pack it up because they knew being down 17-0, that was going to be way too much for them to come back to. And I really want to hear from you Wisconsin fans. What has led to this? I mean, you're absolutely stuck in purgatory. And I am not trying to be disrespectful or that fan because I have tons of respect for the Wisconsin program. If anything, I have never been one of those Hawkeye fans who talk shit or want to tread all over Wisconsin because I'm old school. I'm 44 years old, and in my lifetime, to me, Wisconsin has been our biggest rival. I know some Hawkeye fans might say Minnesota or potentially Nebraska. Maybe if you're 30 years old or under, you might say Nebraska is Iowa's biggest Big Ten rival. But, I mean, just the parallels and arcs between these two programs. I mean, Barry Alvarez, I mean, just the living legend that he is, he went north, was a member of the Iowa staff under legendary coach Hayden Fry, and really built up this Wisconsin program really in the image of Iowa's rise from being in complete purgatory to being a contender year in and year out. So I have never been one of those Hawkeye fans who throws shade or salt in an open wound of Wisconsin. I've always just been jealous because other than this four-year winning streak against the Badgers, for the last basically decade and a half, Wisconsin has been that thorn in our sides, that team that has seemed to always out Iowa. So I have always just been jealous of Wisconsin. I mean, like Pedro Martinez said of the Yankees back in the day, they're my daddy. And Wisconsin really has been Iowa's daddy basically for the previous decade and a half. I mean, even going before we had divisions, the East and the West, or really when we had the Big Ten East and West, primarily you knew the West was going to go through Madison, Wisconsin. Even when we would host those games, it just seemed that Wisconsin would execute cleaner and make the bigger plays, and they would be totally comfortable playing an Iowa-style football game. But I think since Barry Alvarez stepped down as the AD and this hire of Luke Fickell, it's completely come off the rails now, and it's really hard to determine who or what Wisconsin is. I mean, what is their identity? 3 years ago, this is Luke Fickell's third season. I believe that this was a slam dunk hire for the Badgers. And it really put the fear of the good Lord in me here on a Sunday morning, because at that point we still had the divisions. And I thought, great, this is going to make it even more difficult for Iowa to consistently try and play with and defeat Wisconsin. I mean, also that year we had Nebraska hire Matt Rhule, who between those two hires, I thought the Luke Fickell hire was an absolute grand slam. I was more concerned and afraid for him elevating that program than Matt Rhule would at Nebraska, but it's been completely the opposite. I mean, Matt Rhule at Nebraska, is starting to get a little bit of traction. They are slowly improving, but it has gone downhill ever since Luke Fickell got there. And I think it's just because trying to come in and change their identity, change their culture to a complete 180 from a ground and pound, let's drag you into a telephone booth and have a rock fight, into a potential air raid offense, which there's no resemblance of that, even though that's what he kind of promised. It has gone completely wrong. It has been an epic fail. Epic fail, like, this new generation would say. But yeah, it's just been, and it's hard for me to see how quickly this has evolved and just how bad this program is, because quite frankly, Wisconsin fans, you're probably thinking this the way I am, and maybe asking yourselves this morning is, are we or are you potentially the worst team in the Big Ten? The answer might be yes, unfortunately. And I never thought that I would ever hear that in my lifetime, to say that about Wisconsin. I mean, I'm 44 years old, like I said. I've been a fan ever since I was 8 years old, and we always knew when we faced up against Wisconsin, it was going to be a battle royale, all right? But lately, just has not been that, all right? So I want to hear from Badger fans, all right? So each and every game, I always like to pick 3 stars from each squad. And quite frankly, it's difficult for me to find 3 for Wisconsin. I mean, just the eye test, looking at the stats today, it definitely, one person that did pop out to me watching the game last night, and here on the stat sheet, their defender, Christian Alliegro, had 10 tackles. 6 of those were solos with 1 pass deflection. The second star, I mean, I've got to probably give it, even though I didn't watch it post-game, I've got to give it to the Wisconsin marching band for the 5th quarter performance. I mean, they're known very widely, well known as the party they put on post-game, the the marching band. So I'll give a second star to marching Wisconsin. And the third star, wow, I mean, it's hard to find. I mean, I would say from a team perspective, I mean, the penalty side of this, I mean, Wisconsin did play a very clean game from a penalties perspective, only committing, three penalties? Let's see, three penalties for 35 yards. So it's not bad. It's not. But the other side of playing clean, turnovers, three turnovers for Wisconsin to Iowa's one. I mean, time of possession pretty much was a wash. Iowa had the ball for just over 31 minutes to Wisconsin's having the ball just under 29 minutes. So very close there as far as time of possession. But yeah, it just was a really, really tough game for Wisconsin. Now for Iowa, 3 stars. I've got to give one to the combined efforts of the Iowa offensive line. We heard all week, and the stats told us the same thing, and stats do not lie, that the one thing that Wisconsin was able to hang their hat on this year was their run defense, and Iowa ran all over them. And that really came down to the rushing lanes created by the Iowa offensive line. Total, Iowa ran for 210 yards on 36 attempts. Good enough for a clip just below 6 yards per carry at 5.8 with 4 touchdowns. So the big uglies up front definitely out Wisconsin's game plan. I mean, just absolutely grabbed them and were able to shake them around like rag dolls. I mean, they had no business trying to be in this game physically up front with Iowa's offensive line was Wisconsin's front seven. Second of all, going along with that, I got to give a second star to Iowa's rushing attack. I mean, we had a couple guys out this weekend. Jazzy Patterson did not play. Neither did Terrell Washington Jr., but stepping up, Kamari Malton, our RB1, 15 carries for 96 yards, 1 touchdown. And then freshman Xavier Williams is back from an early season injury. He looks the complete part as Iowa's next stud running back. He had 7 carries for 55 yards for 2 rushing touchdowns. So great job by the Iowa rushing attack. And that still is what Iowa wants to do first and foremost, regardless of whatever OC or quarterback is back there playing, okay? So what is the fallout from this game? Well, I already mentioned earlier in this episode that Wisconsin went all out for this game. Last year, inside Kinnick Stadium, Iowa completely just slaughtered Wisconsin 42-10. And I think this year it was definitely much worse, but completely just snipped them. I mean, just took their testicles and beat them into submission to the point to where after every practice during the offseason, Wisconsin did 42 push-ups, kind of corresponding with how many points Iowa put up on them last year. I mean, this was everything. It was their Super Bowl. It was like the Alamo, Custer's last stand. This was it. And everything, all the chips were pushed in to go all in on this one game. Homecoming night, rivals coming into town. And this was maybe the one thing that they could have said, hey, no matter what happens the rest of the season or what happens with the coaching staff, we took care of Iowa and reclaimed the Heartland Trophy, but it was all for naught. And really, it's kind of symbolic that even before this game started, when the Iowa team was taking the field, there was a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. One of the Wisconsin players was out there just talking smack, and then that was followed up by an absolute complete faceplant. I mean, that's putting it lightly. I'm trying to keep this PG-13 here. So, yeah, it's like I said, Luke Fickell is not going to survive this. He's done. I mean, I would not be surprised if later today, if I'm on the course and I get that notification that he has been terminated or relieved of his job as the head coach at Wisconsin. And it doesn't get any easier for Wisconsin from here out. Also last night, you could tell After jump around was done, the students were leaving. There wasn't that much energy in that stadium. And Iowa's defensive line just emasculated the Wisconsin rushing attack too. And my third star for Iowa, I almost didn't say that, is I've got to give a third star, rewinding here a little bit, to kicker Drew Stevens. I mean, he's kind of struggled lately. He missed that 42-yarder 2 weeks ago, which would have given Iowa a late game lead against Indiana. And what a great story Indiana has become overnight here after going to Oregon and winning. But we'll talk about that some other time. But Drew Stevens was 3 for 3, kicking field goals with a long of 49. Definitely needed himself a good bounce back game, and was also 4 for 4 with extra points. So, yeah, I mean, it's ugly. It's not good there in Madison. And it's just a fall from grace. And I really want to hear from you Badger fans, because I never ever thought I would see it come to this level of what's going on there. I mean, I think Luke Fickell's on his 8th, maybe 9th quarterback in the last 3 seasons. He's tried time and time to dip into the transfer portal. It hasn't worked out, but hey, us Iowa fans, we understand how that is. But I will say it that the offense or lack of offense this year at Wisconsin, we've seen it. Because it's much like the Deacon Hill and Spencer Petras offenses that we had at Iowa recently that, quite frankly, were just offensive. That's it. But yeah, great game for Hawkeye fans. Wisconsin, keep up the good fight. That's all you really can do. I want to hear from all of you, so please light me up below. What do you think the rest of the season holds? What were some of your hot takes, your observations? Or what's your overall opinion or feeling about Iowa and Wisconsin right now during the game, before the game, after the game? And it was great to see Gronk, baby Gronk, I call him, Mark Gronowski, was able to get on the field as QB1. So apparently it's good news. That injury that he suffered 2 weeks ago, early in the fourth quarter against Indiana, was nothing along the lines of season ending. So it's great to have him back too. All right. So to wrap this up, where do we go from here? Well, for Wisconsin, it does not get any easier. I mean, coming in next week, it is in Camp Randall. It might be the big noon game. I don't know, but you host number 1 Ohio State comes knocking next week, and then you go on the road to the Pacific Northwest to take on the Oregon Ducks. So it does not get any easier. I mean, I could easily see Wisconsin not winning another game the rest of the year. And I believe they still have home dates with Illinois and go to Indiana and to Minnesota, their other arch rival as well. So it's going to be a tough rest of the year and sledding for the Wisconsin Badgers. Now for Iowa, a really good chance here for them to get on a little bit of a roll. I mean, I was thinking this before the game. If they could win the next 3 games, which 1 down tonight, then you've got a homestand against Penn State, which me and my family will be in the friendly confines of Kinnick Stadium next week. So if you see me, feel free to give me a holler. I can't wait to take in the night game at Kinnick, even though that Penn State matchup has lost some luster now with the struggles of Penn State. So they've got Penn State at home, Minnesota at home, the battle for the Divine Swine, Floyd of Rosedale, and then a bye week. So if Iowa can win these next 3 games and 1 down the next 2, it's going to be a nice little run for them going into the bye week, and then they host Oregon, which could be a huge game potentially. I'm not saying Iowa is a playoff team. They are not. Okay, but if they can win, these next 2 games, Penn State, Minnesota, and happen to find a way to defeat Oregon, they're going to get themselves into that conversation, especially with the 2 losses they have. I mean, at Iowa State, which has lost a little bit of because Iowa State lost yesterday, and at home against Indiana, and that loss is absolutely a good loss. So that's where we go from here. I will be back midweek for my Week 8 preview and picks episode. I can't believe we're already past the halfway point of this college football season. So expect me then. Please get involved. Exercise your college football voice. You're right. hit me up in the comments below. Please like, share, rate, subscribe. Tell your friends, your fellow college football fanatics, your coworkers to check me out here in the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. It'd be much appreciated. So until then, take care of yourself, peace, prosperity, and as always, go Hawks. See ya. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.